So 2010 was a pretty good year for animation. On one hand, DreamWorks released a finale to the Shrek franchise and saved us from the mass psychosis that was Shrek the Third, and on the other hand, started a brand new franchise with How to Train Your Dragon. Pixar also concluded their beloved Toy Story trilogy with the heartwarming Toy Story 3, while Disney Animation refreshed their image with a new CGI fairy tale musical, Tangled. Warner Brothers brought its A-game to a gorgeous Guardians of Ga'Hoole, and a new animation studio named Illumination debuted with their big summer hit movie, Despicable Me. I'm having a bad day, it's about time that I get my way. Despicable Me tells the story of Gru, an evil genius supervillain with an army of minions, who would soon have his life changed when he adopts 3 little girls for his biggest heist yet, stealing the moon. Despicable Me is a huge hit, grossing around $543 million against a budget of $69 million. Its success would then spawn a multi-billion-dollar franchise for Universal Studios, including 2 spin-off movies, theme park tie-ins, video games, and 3 sequels: Despicable Me 2, 3, and Despicable Me 4, which is coming out July 2024. The film features a new villainous foe, Maxime Lamau, voiced by Will Ferrell. Evil, genius, supervillain, minion, sequel, Will Ferrell? So, you're using Will Ferrell, eh, Universal? That's right, Carrie. And there's a free shitty TV movie with every subscription. Care for one? Now! Released in 2010, Megamind tells the story of Megamind, an evil genius supervillain with one faithful minion, singular, who would soon have his life changed when he finally achieved the impossible, defeating his arch-nemesis Metro Man. Megamind was not a box office hit, grossing around $321 million against a budget of $130 million. Which is better than Wish, but still not the box office triumph DreamWorks was looking for. And so, like Rise of the Guardians, the film was buried in the DreamWorks catalog forever despite having a dedicated fanbase. That is until...
Check this out.
Oh my god, I'm sorry.
DreamWorks Animation tweeted this as an announcement for their brand new streaming show, Megamind's Guide to Defending Your City. Megamind vs. the Doom Syndicate is a straight-to-streaming movie produced by DreamWorks Animation Television. It serves as both a direct-to-video sequel to the 2010 cult classic film Megamind and a pilot to the DreamWorks Animation Television series Megamind Rules. I don't think people liked it. Now, don't get me wrong, treating Doom Syndicate and Rules as an actual sequel is pretty insulting. Not only towards the amazing original film we got, but also the amount of care DreamWorks put into their theatrical sequels. I may not like all the sequels, but there's no doubt that these stories relate and expand on the original instead of the sandbox, anything can happen with our characters approach that spin-off TV series and direct-to-video movies tend to do. R.I.P. Joseph King of Dreams. You would have loved Megamind vs. the Doom Syndicate. I think the marketing is really weird here because they're playing it so straight. Universal, buddy. You know there's a reason why the joke online is Megamind 2 doesn't exist, right? I mean, it doesn't. So why are you advertising it like this was the Megamind 2 we were all waiting for? Get out of here. Sorry for explaining the joke, but that was my segue because it's unfunny when you explain the joke. Just like this movie. Unlike the House of Dreams, local House of Mouse Disney has an extensive history when it comes to their direct-to-video sequels, from the early 90s all the way to the late 2000s. Fun fact, these range from actual sequels with a continuing story, TV pilots where we're introduced to brand new characters and concepts, midquels where we fill in the time gaps from the original, and failed TV shows where the movie is just a 3-episode marathon with some sort of bookends.
His hair. Ew.
The reason I said fun fact here is because Disney just advertised all of them as sequels. Oh my gosh, your favorite characters are back in an all-new movie. Never mind that budget cut. Okay, but coming from someone who grew up with these, they work because these were advertised towards kids, and kids are more likely to give lesser quality animation a chance as long as the story is likable. Like, the classic Barbie movies were amazing, but you can't deny that their animation was janky as hell. And here's the cheese. Megamind is a 14-year-old movie. It is closer to getting a driver's license than going to kindergarten. Its main fanbase consists of teenagers and young adults. You know, the kids who grew up with the movie. Why do you think there are so many Megamind memes now, instead of during the old like a boss era? Sorry, I just took off 5 years of your life there. You can't just come in and say your favorite characters are back with a shitty looking series and not expect us to be disappointed. After all, you teased this on Twitter. Who do you think is on Twitter, Universal? I guess it would be weird to talk about how the sequel show failed Megamind without jumping into said show, so here we go. Unfortunately for you guys, 1, this is a show. Yes, an hour-long pilot is still a part of the show. It's like a Stitch the Movie situation, the girls who get it. And 2, we're not doing a deep play-by-play here because, well, the horse is dead. And nothing in that review is going to top Dehydration Gun! Yeah, that's as entertaining as it gets, folks. So, Megamind vs. the Doom Syndicate takes place 2 days after Megamind, or 1 day after the Button of Doom if you need that precise timeline, and is about Megamind trying to adjust to his new life as a superhero while dealing with his old villain team, the Doom Syndicate. Shenanigans ensue. Minion is now Chum because of a cease and desist from Minions?
Quick correction there. Due to a cease and desist order from fast food chain, I can no longer call myself Mr. Minion's Meatsicles. So, Megamind gave me a new name. Old Chum. It means—
Shut the fuck up, no one cares.
I mean, they do look eerily similar, so. And he started working at knockoff Mr. Donut because Megamind said he's not his sidekick. By the way, Mr. Donut is voiced by—
It's your filthy unwashed apron.
Ugh, Tony Hale. And I mean, okay, if you've seen the first movie, you know that Megamind apologizes and the two reunite. To be honest, I'm kind of more concerned that they had the same breakup within 2 days. I don't think that's healthy. Roxanne isn't satisfied with her reporter job because Megamind is now the defender of Metrocity. She dabbles in a few hobbies, and what do you know, her passion actually lies in being the mayor. No investigative journalism here, I guess. I mean, yeah, the old mayor didn't know what to do when Metrocity was halfway to space. But what mayor did? They were halfway to space. By the way, Megamind and Roxanne are not together because then there wouldn't be any more drama, duh. Thank you, Doom Syndicate. Just when I thought Hollywood is actually writing about a couple being together, they pull another "it's complicated." Oh, Lumity. How I missed you. There's also a new member of our found family as Megamind's #1 fan and social media influencer, Keiko Morita, joins the gang. I have to mention the social media influencer part because Megamind Rules is all about Megamind becoming a social media influencer. Because this show is trying to get the kids into Megamind, and kids love social media, such as Twitter. Okay, I will say this though. The addition of the Doom Syndicate is not the worst thing for a Megamind sequel. I mean, there are already deleted concepts from the original movie in service of a smaller story. Plus, on paper, it's a fairly easy way to expand the movie's universe and provide external conflicts that are fundamental when it comes to an episodic TV show. Many characters from that concept were already featured in the Megamind video games, so it makes sense that others would return in the sequel. Side note, please add Keith David's psychedelic into Megamind Rules. I think the name is brilliant and the design looks sick. Plus, it's Keith David.
Not before we party like a plague first, baby.
Look, I don't blame the artists or the creators because it's obvious that Universal wanted to cash in on Megamind's newfound success without putting in effort. Take the voice acting, for example. I know they didn't get Will Ferrell back, but they did get Keith Ferguson here, and he wasn't that bad when he was Megamind in the video games.
I declare through my ingenious efforts. Who did this to you?
So I think the offbeat performance here is more likely on the director. Love your lack of energy. Go girl, give us nothing. The animation quality is also pretty bad, but I wouldn't be surprised if this movie was made with 1/10 of the original's budget. The writers probably had their hands tied too, because on one hand, they clearly acknowledge that Megamind is smart enough to use his dehydration gun, but on the other, he just forgets it exists sometimes. My guess is that the budget Universal gave really limited the amount of locations, characters, and conflicts they can use for an entire TV-length movie pilot.
Nope, scratch that. Reverse it.
Movie-length TV pilot, so sometimes you just gotta avoid the easiest route for runtime's sake. Megamind vs. the Doom Syndicate definitely could have been better. Yes, DreamWorks shot themselves in the foot when they decided to not give Megamind the theatrical sequel it deserves. But I think the team did the best they could with what little scraps they were given. So if you want to blame someone for this, blame the company. Don't go harassing the artists or creators. Don't do it. Don't be that bad apple. Also, to be completely honest, I kinda got used to everything by the halfway point. Visually, at least. Like I said, the Barbie movies trained me. I mean, have you seen the Barbie Diaries? You wouldn't last an hour in the asylum where they raised me.
She doesn't deserve to be Anchor. Who cares if she's exciting, fresh, and fun?
Please, she sounds like a deodorant.
Same director, by the way. What really made my experience with Doom Syndicate so frustrating is their portrayal of Megamind himself. It's like they forgot who Megamind was, because Megamind was never evil.
You need to leave!
Okay, wait, let me explain. You see, Megamind's theme was always more about expectations, identity, and self-worth, instead of the generic good triumphs evil. While there's still a dichotomy between heroes and villains, Megamind dives a little deeper by having the characters come into their own and stand against the labels society thrusted upon them. It's kinda like what Shakespeare said, some are born great, some achieve greatness, and some have greatness thrust upon them. Metro Man is the definition of born great. He's a rich superhero with high charisma and incredible powers. Ever since his school days, Metro Man has wowed people with his natural talents. But when he saved people from Megamind's mishaps, Metro Man then became the superhero people expected him to be. As much as he claims to love being Metrocity's hero, he can clearly tell from his reintroduction that Metro Man was really in it for the fame and performance, the celebrity aspects of being a superhero. This is later confirmed when we learn that he faked his death because he was tired of always being the good guy. I mean, my man juggles babies and is dressed up as Elvis. He got that rock dog in him. Even his first reaction to seeing Roxanne's capture is very performative, especially when compared to Megamind's genuine reaction later on in the movie. When given the opportunity to live a normal life, Metro Man finally gets to selfishly embrace what he always wanted to be, Music Man, a celebrity with the same logo and none of the responsibilities. Despite having great powers, Metro Man never had those superhero morals, because even in the most dire situations, he still refused Megamind and Roxanne's plea to save the city from Titan. Speaking of, isn't it crazy how the only thing that is keeping Roxanne from jumping into Titan's arms is the lack of superpowers? Titan, or I guess Hal, is the creepy nice guy who fully expects Roxanne's love just because he has Metro Man's powers. When Roxanne rejects him, Titan immediately blames her and becomes the full villain he really is. Not a supervillain, but a true villain, because he literally does whatever he wants with little to no regard. Gone are the days where he doesn't have to think twice before hitting a van, all because a girl said no to your creepy party of two. But what's interesting here is that this is what Megamind says when he finds out. I don't want to go to copyright jail, so you'll get my attempt at voice acting here. I can't believe you. All your gifts, all your powers, and you squander them for your own personal gain. Now remember that quote because
That's a surprise tool that can help us later.
Megamind was raised in a prison for the criminally gifted, and while he is criminally gifted, his efforts are constantly undermined by people's expectations. Even when he finally gets a chance to be with kids his age, Megamind was already an outcast due to his inherent otherness as a blue alien in a prisoner uniform. Okay, but no one told him that popcorn corn is different from regular corn, and the dodgeball helmet was to level the playing field. But he's a blue alien who grew up in prison, so everything he does just feeds into the role society has already given him. I mean, would the kids be scared if Metro Man messes up the popcorn? Probably not. My guess is that they'll just sing, "Nobody's perfect, I gotta work it again and again till I get it right," and give him a second chance. Because his intentions were always overlooked, and he only gets attention as the bad boy Metro Man stops, Megamind fully embraces the role of a supervillain, despite not wanting to. He literally calls the prison his home. Not his lair with Minion and the Brainbots, but the prison. It's because at the end of the day, that's where he thinks he belongs, and it's easier to hide his vulnerabilities behind the facade than to open up and risk being hurt again. It's like Nick Wilde from Zootopia, minus the becoming a cop part.
If the world's only gonna see a fox as shifty and untrustworthy, there's no point in trying to be anything else.
Megamind leans into the persona of Metrocity's supervillain, but you can see some of his inherent goodness from his actions. You can tell that he puts an effort into the safety of the people because most of his crimes involve stealing money, artwork, painting the town hall. Any planned out fights are located away from the main population, and his most common D setting is dehydration instead of destroy or death ray. You can even see a softer side through his music. He basks himself in hard rock, but every so often a few slower love songs come through. Speaking of love songs, the most evident of Megamind's performance is the scene of Roxanne's kidnapping. You can tell from her reactions here that Megamind never once intended to harm her, and that all the contraptions are merely for show. In fact, their interactions here are more on the flirtatious side than the typical villain versus damsel dynamic. Based on their chemistry in this scene, Megamind is definitely into Roxanne at this point, but the intention to make a move was never evident because he's the bad guy. He doesn't save the city, he doesn't fly off into the sunset, and he doesn't get the girl. Megamind has internalized his role as a supervillain for so long, he actually lost his meaning in life when his arch nemesis Metro Man dies. His goal was never supposed to be successfully defeating Metro Man, but to find acceptance and love in others. And it's something he really forgot until he found his new persona, Bernard. Bernard started off as a last-minute disguise to prevent Roxanne from seeing Megamind's super cool pajamas, but he inevitably became a chance to have a clean slate with her. For the first time in the movie, Megamind was able to be vulnerable with her as the two find solace in each other after Metro Man's death, something even Minion couldn't provide since he became more of an instigator in Megamind's Mr. Evil Overlord shenanigans than an emotional support. After their talk, Roxanne repaid his kindness by inviting Bernard to Megamind's hideout and formally calls him her partner in the case. They start to bond more after that, and Megamind was finally able to be himself without any prior judgments. And thanks to Roxanne's influence, this is when he changes for the better. He cleans up the streets and returns stolen goods, but not as a nice guy act to get Roxanne to like Megamind, he's just doing what's right for the city. If it truly was a nice guy act, he would be bragging about doing cleanups in front of Roxanne as Bernard, like how Hal would. When Bernard becomes Megamind's second chance, he chooses to be good. While romance is very inspiring, Megamind knows that he will have to eventually tell Roxanne the truth, so he tests the water with
have the complexion of a popular primary color.
And it's interesting that when Roxanne tells him she judges people based on their actions, he responds with,
well, that seems kind of petty, don't you think?
Because throughout his life, people judged him based on his actions with confirmation bias. It's only until the rain scene where Megamind realizes that while he can connect with others, be good, and have his love reciprocated, he also did bad things. And for the first time, Megamind takes responsibility for his actions. Because while there is a chance that Roxanne loves him back, he also understands that he hasn't done anything worthy of it, and that's why he lets her go. When Titan turns for the worst, Megamind faces his fears and asks Roxanne for help, putting his persona behind him. I just need to pause and talk about Roxanne's white tank top here because, her colors are so important in this movie, okay? When we're introduced to Roxanne, she's dressed in red, a color that plays into the well-known red/blue character dynamic, signifying her as Megamind's foil. When we see her on the date with Bernard, she's dressed in purple. It's a mix between her red and Megamind's blue here because she's still conflicted about him. She's starting to change her mind because of all the good deeds Megamind has done, but it's only halfway because she's also waiting for the second shoe to drop. Insert the rain scene that I let live in my head for free and don't even charge it rent. Anyways, the next time we see her, she's now in a white tank top with matching pink slippers. Roxanne now views Megamind in a new light, thanks to the time and feelings she spent on Bernard, and the genuine changes Megamind made thanks to her influence. Not to mention, she did look back that night because she wanted something more. And everything finally comes together when we see her dressed in blue at Megamind's ceremony. She now fully accepts him as much as he accepts her. Back to Megamind. Despite their previous tensions,
Oh, my giant blue head!
Whoops, I guess we're here.
Roxanne brings Megamind to Metroman's secret lair, where Metroman admits everything, including being done with being a hero. But he does try to leave a hopeful message for Megamind, because if there's bad, good will rise up against it. And maybe this is his call to answer. So of course, Megamind gives up and goes home, which might seem out of character at first. Megamind is a positive person. His first response to people is usually a direct compliment.
Granted you have talent. Oh, a brave one, isn't he?
And he tends to look on the bright side of things despite other people's judgments. He's more of a glass half full, almost win others type of guy. But remember that quote?
That's a surprise tool that...
No, the other one. Okay, cool, because we're using it. Megamind's formula for a hero is as follows. Someone with a noble heart and mind, who puts the welfare of others above their own, and most importantly, has the gift of Metroman's powers. But this worldview gets completely shattered by Music Man when he actively chooses not to be a hero. Self-actualization is a tricky thing. Megamind always believed that there are things he lacked in order to be the good guy, whether that's powers, society's acceptance, a human complexion. But it wasn't until Roxanne's I Need You speech that Megamind realized none of that matters. And so he does what Megamind does. He tries. He owns up to his wrongdoings, reconciles with Minion, and confronts Titan. And it's here we get to witness all of Megamind's best qualities. He has great flair, thinks on his feet, learns from his mistakes, and doesn't give up. I love when his eyes light up with so much hope that Roxanne might have looked back that night, or when he's even willing to take a huge hit from Titan if it means getting to his diffuser gun. But most importantly, these qualities aren't new. This isn't a bad guy gets new skills because he's the hero now moment, because Megamind didn't need new skills. He always had the makings of a superhero, he just needed to see that for himself. I also want to quickly talk about this watch moment because it's the culmination of my love for this movie. Is it just me stalling a bit so I don't have to talk about Doom Syndicate Megamind?
Maybe.
But this is my review, and I get to choose the cute ship scene. After Metroman successfully threatens Titan to leave Metrocity, Roxanne gleams at him as they slowly gravitate towards each other. It's a scene we've seen plenty of times when the villain is defeated and the lovers reunite. We feel this comfortable beat between them until Roxanne playfully holds out her hand for him to grab. Metroman hesitates, but gives in, and Roxanne turns his watch, revealing Megamind's identity. And we see Megamind smile as all his fears melt away because she loves him, just the way he is. Popular primary color and all. Roxanne being the one to turn the watch is also important because it shows that Megamind wasn't going to do a grand reveal. Much like his good deeds earlier, there's no gotcha moment here. Megamind truly believes that playing Metroman is what's best for the city, and if anything, he was probably planning to play Metroman for the foreseeable future. But she doesn't let him because he's the superhero Metrocity needs. And while the civilians were confused, none of them appear to be hostile. This is their clean slate, and the moment Megamind finally becomes the superhero he was meant to be. Now back to Doom Syndicate, I guess. Now that I think about it, I guess technically we have 2 Megamind sequels now. On one hand, the Button of Doom serves as a great sequel to Megamind. It's about Megamind's impostor syndrome and accepting that he can be a superhero without mimicking his predecessor or erasing his technical achievements. It's a great sequel because it expands on the first film's message about self-worth and keeps the heart of its characters. On the other hand, Doom Syndicate is a lot like Incredibles 2, where the sequel decides to double down on the original's surface-level aspects instead of expanding the original's themes. Incredibles 2 throws away the Incredibles' nuanced marital drama and exploration of the midlife crisis to focus on superhero abilities and wacky kid shenanigans. While that movie is still appealing in some ways, it ultimately ends up being a letdown when compared to the original. Similarly, Doom Syndicate plays into what everyone expected a Megamind sequel to be, if they've never seen the original. It's about an ex-villain trying to be a hero but is struggling with his bad habits, in this case his former villain league, and forgot what made Megamind interesting in the first place. A tightly knit story about 5 characters and how their true self slowly came to fruition in the form of a spectacular comedy. And, oh my god, Megamind in this movie was not fun to watch. On top of the evil genius being so dumb that he can't even use a regular toaster, he's dismissive of Minion, treats Roxanne as it's complicated, and is reckless with the city with little regards for its civilians.
Sir, those bystanders are about to get squished!
It does not look good for them. Oh, right, I'm a hero now.
Excuse me? I mean, it's everything an ex-villain would do, but it's not what Megamind would have done, because say it with me, Megamind is not evil. And I think a lot of the jokes and conflicts in the movie could have been easily reframed to show that. Instead of infantilizing Megamind, the super genius with a giant brain, to the point of not knowing how to use a toaster, why not have the gag be him over-upgrading it? Or maybe, instead of the Doom Syndicate idolizing Megamind, they were actually annoyed with him as their leader because he would make these overly elaborate plans that never really work. Megamind doesn't need to be rude to Minion for him to go on his donut side quest. Minion can just be inspired by his friend's achievements and pursue a new career. What's stopping Megamind from simply missing his friend for being away on his new venture? And it's little things like that that got me angry because the movie basically assassinated Megamind's character for a couple of cheap, heartfelt moments. Also, it would have been funnier if Megamind just gave Keiko a flash grenade because you can never be too young to learn self-defense, than some weird trailer moment. I know I'm basically just spitballing here, but there are so many ways to keep the same beats of a movie without taking away a character's essence. And it's really annoying when writers assassinate their characters for the most basic jokes.
Now the ball is in our court. Get it?
Not bad, though I would have gone with tennis, anyone?
Okay, movie. Megamind is obviously the more performative one here, and you already gave him the better ball pun. So switch the order here. Or better yet, just use his old gadgets. What is this? One of the funniest jokes in Megamind is him yelling, "Get back, you savages," when everyone crowds him because it's his first positive feedback. It's not an inherently evil thing to do, and it fits in with how Megamind would have reacted in a positive situation as an ex-villain without painting him in a bad light. How did we go from that iconic moment to...
But you're starting to grow on me, like a pleasant fungus.
Ugh. Another thing about Doom Syndicate Megamind that bothered me is the lesson he learned. Bad guys look out for themselves. Heroes look out for each other.
What are we even talking about?
Hello. Since when was Megamind like that? Megamind has been asking for help even before he became a hero. His friendship with Minion has been there since the start. And are we just ignoring the fact that he was the one who asked Roxanne to help stop Titan? Companionship was the only thing he craved throughout the original movie. The lesson on its own is not the worst thing, but in this context, yeah, it's awful. And what's worst here is that the writers do remember the original Megamind. Hell, they wrote the original Megamind. In the scene where Roxanne and Keiko are trying to get Megamind back on his feet, Keiko confessed that Megamind's change to becoming a superhero is what inspired her to embrace her potential.
But then you stopped Titan. Showed me maybe I don't have to live up to others' expectations. If a bad guy can become a hero, maybe so can a bad kid.
Wait.
If a bad guy can become a hero,
maybe so can a bad kid? Are you serious? That's the takeaway movie? So, the writers knew exactly what the message of the first movie was, but threw it all away for some generic lesson because Keiko here was only around when Megamind defeated Titan? Not even the Metro Man part? Look, nobody believed that Megamind could be good. People have dismissed him for even trying to be good. That's why Megamind played into their expectations to the point of impersonating Metro Man. He just wants to feel accepted by society. Over and over again, if there's a chance at something, Megamind will be the first to grab it and the last to let go. His arc hinges on him not giving up on himself, and it's how he overcame both his and others' expectations. And Doom Syndicate acknowledges this because Keiko literally said that she was also the odd ones out. She played the role of a bad kid because that's what everyone expected of her. And all of that just to conclude with, if a bad guy can become a hero, maybe so can a bad kid? Did the writers change the channel last minute during their rewatch and watch the ending to Despicable Me instead? Because what is this? I'm losing my mind here. Like, am I being gaslighted by the movie so that this new Megamind would fit into Megamind versus the Doom Syndicate? Is this how they justify the whole message of the movie? That Megamind really was just a typical evil guy turned good? Are you for real? Anyways, I think that's enough about Megamind versus the Doom Syndicate. There's a mid-credit scene and oh wow, Megamind has an evil mentor. But yeah, I guess we also have an entire TV show to cover.
For more awesome saves, click like and subscribe.
Alright guys, here it is. Megamind Rules has a few good episodes and the potential to be a fun, goofy spin-off show. Wait, can I say that? This is a safe space, right? Honestly, on paper, I don't mind the whole Megamind is becoming an influencer premise. It serves as a gimmick to give the show a more episodic feel, kind of like how Twilight Sparkle writes to Princess Celestia in earlier seasons of Friendship is Magic, or Stan's blog from Dog with a Blog. Sorry, I just can't really think of more examples off the top of my head. Oh wait, Good Luck Charlie! God, I'm so stupid! And it's basically a format change from the diary entry we've already seen in the Button of Doom. Now, the show itself doesn't really use this gimmick to its full potential. It's kind of just there, and didn't serve any purpose like as a bookend or the cold open to the episode. And yeah, it's very, how do you do, fellow kids? Literally, he wore the hat and everything.
What's with this troll business?
Thankfully, there are only 2 episodes that focused on this. Episode 1, Megamind vs. the Dude Monkey, which is literally one of the worst TV show episodes out there.
Scope that! Cry much, am I right? You'll LOL as I...
Ugh. And episode 3, Roach Hard with a Vengeance. Personally, I think Die Roach with a Vengeance would be a better reference title, because those things are evil, I hate them, and they all need to die. Yeah, it's easy to assume that the streamer/influencer aspects of the show are superficial number drivers for that younger generation appeal, and I'm just seriously glad they dropped it by episode 4. Now, the rest of Megamind Rules are actually just a handful of cartoon staples. We got the clone episode, the body swap episode, the jealousy episode, and even the exciting 2-parter season finale. I guess if I have to pick a favorite episode, it's probably episode 5, Extra Credit, where Megamind over-upgrades Keiko's science project when he gets jealous of Roxanne's old friend from camp. We get a few cute Mega Rocks moments, such as the game night interaction and Megamind calling Roxanne
The goodest thing that ever happened to me!
That line needs some work, but you get it. Plus, I do like the lesson Megamind learns in this episode. Okay, so I guess when I originally wrote the script, the lesson sounded fine in my head, but now that I'm recording it, what was I on? A friend's connection with others does not diminish yours, and there is always room for more friends. If that made sense to you, then yay! I guess our brain cells are clicking. But if not, then it's basically the same message you get from the boss baby in Toy Story, that love is infinite and should be shared. Which, in my opinion, is the best from the series just because it aligned with Megamind's arc from the first movie. Of course, Megamind would be insecure about his new friendships. He's fairly new to this and doesn't really know how relationships work. Anyways, before we get really sidetracked, our most important question remains. Did Megamind Rules also assassinate Megamind's character? Well, yes and no. From the get-go, Megamind continues to be out of character even from the way he enters the room. Why would he come through the window when he could blow up the door as a mishap? That would have been overly dramatic and, dare I say, funny? Much like in Doom Syndicate, Megamind's actions are often in line with the typical evil-turned-good narrative. Megamind misinterprets Donut Lore's payback as a villain origin despite him being a glass-half-full type of guy. Personally, I would have had Roxanne, or even Keiko at this point, misinterpret Donut Face's statements since she's more investigative and likes to read between the lines, compared to Megamind's take everything at face value type of thinking. He also continues to treat Minion more like his secretary/butler than family like the first film suggests. And of course, his relationship with Roxanne is still at Facebook It's Complicated status. It did try to give us a moment between them, but of course it was cut short by greater value Alien Astarion, because the drama must go on. Big however here is that there are a few instances where this Megamind deviates. There's episode 5 where we see our socially inept hero become more secure about his relationship with Roxanne, but there's also episodes 3 and 8. Episode 3, Roach Hard with a Vengeance, explores one of Megamind's traumas from growing up in prison. This mini-arc completes when he conquers his fear of cockroaches thanks to a Q&A video he recorded earlier in the day. On top of this being the best episode to incorporate Megamind's new influencer gig, I mean, yeah, the bar is on the floor, but they use the gimmick well, so woohoo! It also expands on Megamind's backstory without breaking any previously established lore. If only the rest of the show was willing to put in this much effort. Out of the 3 episodes though, it's episode 8 that gave me some hope for Megamind Rules' future, which is coming soon.
Dude, check the news. It doesn't matter what channel.
Who Wants to Save a City is about the gang going through several of Machiavellian's tests in order to save Metrocity from an incoming meteor strike. All while Megamind tells Keiko more about his past. And it's here we learn that every villain in training has to destroy their master in order to become a supervillain. Like a Star War? Megamind also admits that he became a supervillain after taking the credit for destroying Machiavellian from a freak burrito accident, and that he was never cold-hearted enough to be the supervillain he pretends to be. And rather than giving up on him, Keiko tells Megamind that his past doesn't matter, as long as they don't give up and take whatever small chance they have to stop the meteor. Now, the ending here doesn't matter, but I'll tell you anyway, cause it's kind of bonkers. So basically, Machiavellian pulled a Syndrome Incredibles and orchestrated the whole meteor event in order to become Metrocity's newest defender, which is really dumb when you think about it, given his name being Machiavellian. But whatever, he succeeds thanks to the Binky Keiko stole, and frames Megamind as the evil supervillain behind the meteor attack by broadcasting clips of Megamind when he was completing the evil tests. Roxanne then declares Megamind as public enemy number 1, and the season ends when Megamind decides to ask for Metro Man's help again. The end. Crazy ending aside, Keiko's speech made me more hopeful because unlike Doom Syndicate brainwashing its audience with a generic message, Rules acknowledges our blue superhero's best quality from the original. Megamind doesn't give up, even when the odds are stacked against him. He grabs at every chance he gets for his goals so earnestly and consistently tries new ideas when old ones fail. It's how he won against Titan in the first place. And even though he didn't win here in order to have more story for season 2, it seems that the show finally came back around to what made Megamind resonate with people after all these years. That being said, the comedy in this still sucks ass.
Now, let's marvel at its sponge-like fluffiness.
Megamind vs. the Doom Syndicate is a terrible movie, and a worse TV pilot. The pacing drags, the performances are serviceable at best, a lot of the jokes are poorly realized, and the plot is full of scenes that are either time fillers or empty setups. There's no way you're going to be satisfied with this alone, and even when you do watch the show, it ends on another cliffhanger. It's an insult in many ways to the original cult classic, and frankly, a very boring watch. Then we have Megamind Rules, a pretty standard spin-off TV show that thankfully decided to do more classic cartoon scenarios than groan-worthy attempts at being modern. Its lackluster animation screams last-minute cash grab with a minuscule budget. However, you do get a few good character moments, if you can tolerate everything else. While I also wish that Megamind got the theatrical sequel is so greatly deserved, at the end of the day, we just didn't get that. Unfortunately, it's really hard for major studios to greenlight sequels when the first movie wasn't a financial success. That's why there's a Despicable Me 4 coming out in July and not a Megamind 2. But for what it's worth, there's definitely potential to do better here, but that's if the studio is willing to up the resources. Obviously, the reason why The Last Wish became so successful is thanks to Puss in Boots' power as an IP within the Shrek franchise, not high-quality story and animation. And the whole boardroom clapped. Anyways, would I recommend you to watch Megamind vs. the Doom Syndicate or Megamind Rules? No? But don't let me stop you. If you love Megamind, can get past a lot of flaws, and have some time to spare, sure. I mean, the original will always be there for you anyways. Megamind is a 10 out of 10, Megamind vs. the Doom Syndicate is a 2 out of 10, And Megamind Rules is a 4 out of 10. Thank you so much for watching. As of recording, we're about to hit 17k. Woo! Which is really crazy because when I uploaded that Wish video, we were at like 1.6k. But thank you for taking a chance on me, my channel, and my videos in general. More videos to come. The next one is Nimona, so I will see you then. Bye!